In this video, I'm going to show you how to do a rough architectural sketch in Blender, and the first thing that we'll want to do is go to the properties scene and change it from none to imperial. Typically it's on the Blender unit, so it's just a magic number that you can decide is anything. So if we put it on imperial, then everything's going to be in feet and inches, and where I live, that's typically how people measure things. So Shift A to add. We're going to do a default plane, and we can just scale the dimensions to whatever size we want. So let's say we want to do a 30 by 30 little home. So that's 900 square feet. Maybe make the material, and that'll just kind of be a base material. And Shift G and then Z, just so that it's kind of the foundation, and then we can put other floors and stuff on top of that. Alright, so now maybe we have a little room, and let's make it a bedroom. Alright, and I'm going to press 7, go to the top view, and grab, and that seems about okay. And you know what? Maybe this house will be a 2-2. So maybe I'll do that. It's rough. So we'll do another plane, and we'll make it a bathroom. And so typical bathroom dimensions are 5 by 8 for, like, I don't know, something you'd get in an apartment building. And holding control while rotating will snap it to a reasonable dimension. And so instead of stopping there, you can see how that there's some space that would be here, otherwise maybe lost space, but you know, washer and dryer could go right there too. And now we wonder, okay, well, how's the bathroom gonna work? Maybe we do a cube. So the tub might be 5 feet by maybe 16 inches, maybe 20 inches deep. And if you're uncertain about these measurements, you can always go and measure your own. I feel like I measured mine recently, and it was something like this. So I'm just gonna assume that's the case for simplicity's sake. And there we go. X to snap it to that dimension. Oh, also we can do 5 to do like a truer top down. And you can see that I'm a little bit off aligned, but you know, it's rough anyway. So let's see, do a washer and dryer room. I mean, that probably will be this full space, so I'm just going to multiply, get 5 there, and actually I should do 5 here. And since there's 12, oh, actually, that looks just about right. And then maybe, oh, and so you wonder why there's a space here. I'm just leaving that space because I'm considering it walls, because if you design a house and then there's no room for walls, the walls just eat into the room. So, I mean, you could do it either way. We could do a kitchen. Maybe we just do cabinets, and we leave the floor like this concrete floor, and maybe these are just rugs or something. You know, super economical. Alright, so I had to switch back into the orthographic view. Now we're gonna go into the array, and here we go, and this will be essentially kitchen cabinets, and we're gonna do a little space just for like detail. Let's see. Now the space wouldn't really be there, it's just kind of a slight embellishment. I'm gonna go in here and say change to face select, and then I'm gonna do front view, and E, extrude that, and then S, size it down, and top view, E, extrude that again, and you know, that looks a lot more like cabinets. Potentially one of them is a sink. I don't think I'm going to go to that level of detail. I'm just going to copy this, rotate it, move it down, G, the corner one's a little bit awkward. You know, maybe we don't need that many in that direction. Alright. Just have to redesign that. G, Y. Yeah, good enough. If you can see, the tub felt short because it's actually going through the floor. So GZ to grab that up. And now that looks a lot better. Probably grab it a little bit closer to the edge. Granted, maybe the tub needs to be a little bit thicker. I don't quite remember. So we're going to do another one, and that's going to be the toilet. Alright, I'm going into wireframe mode because it's kind of hard to tell in this view when there's no shading or anything. Shift Z to scale it down on everything except for the Z axis. Size, and then Y, because I think this is going to be the back of the toilet. And then I'm gonna create another cube, grab this over here, GX, SX, Shift D to duplicate, Shift X, Shift Y, Shift Z, GZ, G. Alright, so this is going to be a sink. S, G, maybe relatively small. I don't know. That seems like a decent size. Extrude again. G. Maybe do a loop cut. Maybe we do one in the opposite direction. Wow, that looks a lot more toilet shaped than I thought it would. Alright, yeah, wow. Hey, I might try that again sometime. Oh, we need to do a little divot in the tub. So, tab to edit mode. That looks like a tub. If we do this, GX, so we'll just do this by hand. Here we go. GX. Alright. Now, there are 2 reasonably sized closets, and maybe to show a closet we want to make some clothes. And so and clothes are, I want to say they're about 18 inches, so we'll just do 18 inches. I mean, you can go measure it if you don't believe me, but let's see, array modifier, and we're gonna space that apart. You know what, that's too blocky for the clothes, so SX, and then now they're too close. We're gonna want more of them. Alright, and then we're gonna do another array modifier, and we're gonna do that in the other direction. So relative offset 0. Alright, that seems fine. GZ, hey, you know what? We could probably just do one more array modifier, and this one will be on the z-axis, so 2, or maybe z. We could have just changed that z, but for whatever reason I want a positive number. We need some doors. Let's see, and we need some windows. Cube. Depending on how thick you want your walls, it might make sense to go a little bit thicker, so 6-inch instead of 4-inch. If you live in a cold climate, you might even want to do double-studded walls, so that's 2 4-inch walls with a gap in between, and the gap prevents the thermal bridging. So we're going to do 2 6-inch wide and 2 inches deep. And so that's 1 stud. And we're going to do this not 8 feet high because that is a high door. We're going to do that like 7.5 feet. And then we have to bring it up through the floor. GY. Rotate. GY. We'll make the interior the shell. So right along the outside is all wall. And then they're about, let's do 3 feet. So that seems about reasonable. Now I typically like to put a buffer of closet along the wall of the living spaces just so it's quieter for people who are trying to sleep. I'm just going to extend it out like that. There we go. I'm just going to duplicate this whole thing and rotate it, and now we can come in here, and instead of 6 inches it can just be 4 inches. Control J to join them all together. Size this down to a more reasonable door size. There's your door. And then we're just going to duplicate that and put another one there and duplicate it and put another one there. Yes. There's going to be a TV here. Duplicate this again, and then I'm going to grab it up and then scale the whole thing down and oops. Oh no, there we go. And then I'm going to make it TV shaped. I am going to go to user preferences and install from file. I'm going to do Blender Mada and find it, Blender Armada client, and then I'm going to go back to the 3D view, and then I'm going to say update. Now it's pulling a whole bunch of cool textures. Preview. Wow, that looks like a pretty good general carpet. I am going to import that. Add an empty object. Let's see. Do I remember how? Yes, there we go. We're going to do a plane axis. End this preview. So we can go back to viewing. GZ. Alright. So the view should change if I go that way. There we go. Now the camera is pointing at the empty. There we go. That's not a terrible view. I don't really know how lights work in the cycles renderer. Things changed. I was more familiar with the other one. Not terrible. Oh, hey, look, it crashed. That's maybe a reasonable stopping point, as you can see. Maybe screen recording on a really wimpy laptop while doing a 3D program and rendering is not the best combination. So that's my demo. I hope you learned something, and hopefully it doesn't take me all day to edit this time. Alright, have a nice one.